What up, Street Beast fam, YouTube fans, and everybody else who stumbled across this channel? Shinigami here, aka Sensei Danny, back at you with another Black Belt Thoughts. So, let's jump right into it. Sports injuries, martial arts injuries, something a lot of people don't really talk about much or think about much. And, you know, just the ways they can affect you if you don't take care of them properly. So, they're an inevitability even if you're careful. Accidents happen, and you're gonna get injured. It's just part of the sport. There's no way to avoid it. Or at least almost no way to avoid it, unless you're training incredibly light, and then at which point, with no pressure testing and no real resistance and no active sparring, you're not gonna really get anything of value out of training. So, and some of this applies to just other things that aren't martial arts. It can happen in basketball. It can happen in football. It can happen in soccer. Any team sport, things happen. Ligament tears, inflammation, all kinds of things, bruising, sprains. So I myself have a long list of injuries I've accrued, and I probably didn't, handle them the way I should have. And I'm actually lucky that a lot of them did end up worse because of it. And it's really easy, especially when you're in your 20s, to still feel like you're invincible, even when you're demonstrably not, because you just got hurt, and think you can just power through it, and then go home and deal with it, and then come back and train again anyway. I'm here to tell you that sometimes that's the case, sometimes it's not, and sometimes I think it's the case when it's not, and you probably should err on the side of caution and take a couple of days off of training and ice it and let it heal. Sometimes some things take a week or two, but it's better to take a week or two than end up where I ended up at one point, because I ended up having to take 3-4 months off. And I actually didn't do the full 3 months, and I should have, because I still feel it. I still feel it in my right knee. It's never going to be the same. My right shoulder's never going to be the same. I have a AC ligament separation in my shoulder that I got grappling with one of my senseis who was on the high school wrestling team. I was like 16, 17. I was like 21, 22, something like that. Anyway, I was trying to, because we did some grappling in my original, or at the Kempo dojo originally. Once or twice a month, we'd pull in some mats and do some grappling stuff. Nothing really in depth like jiu-jitsu, but just so we'd kind of figure out something to do instead of just being completely alienated on the ground. Anyway, he got a takedown on me. I tried to roll him over mid-fall, and we both landed on my right shoulder. Well, I landed on my right shoulder with both our weights on it in a rolling motion, and that just was not good. This was before class started. We'd already set up the mats, and then I did class. I helped run the warm-ups, did push-ups, punches, everything, and it wasn't so bad. And then I got home after class. I was driving home. It got really stiff, and for the next couple of days, I couldn't even straighten my arm out, and I had like a bump. And I got a new gi, and I tried to do a reverse punch to make it pop, and something cracked in my shoulder, and the little bump went away. So I think I kind of knocked the ligament in the end of my collarbone back into place doing that, but definitely wasn't a good idea. I should have been icing it. I should have been heating it, and I definitely should not have gone to class for a while. And I didn't even know for a couple of years that that's what it was. It took a while to figure it out, because for the longest time I didn't feel like it was that bad that I needed to go to the doctor. But then the pain just wouldn't go away. So a year and a half later, I ended up getting X-rays and MRIs and stuff, and they were like, they told me it was a ligament separation, but it was minor, and it had already scarred back together. But, unless I'm working out a lot and doing things that build shoulder muscle, if I let it go, it'll do that, get all out of place. So I definitely have to urge everybody, when you train, take care of your injuries. Same thing with my knee. I was training for an amateur fight. I got my knee kicked out. I went to go check a kick, and it changed my height. And the target that my training partner was aiming for, which was my inner thigh, was no longer in the same spot that it was, and my knee was now there. So ended up inflaming every tendon and ligament in my right knee, and the doctor told me not to even so much as walk for 3 months. I tried to stay off it as much as possible for like 2.5 months. I still went to karate class to help, you know, since I was an assistant instructor, I still went to help, even though I wasn't really on the mat much. You know, I would give as many pointers as I could. But yeah, definitely if you have an injury, especially if you decide to train with it, you need to make sure that it's very clear to your instructors and your training partners and everybody, and that you speak up if what you're doing is hurting it, so you can try to do something else. Because the thing with my knee is we had a Shotokan instructor come in that was strictly Shotokan to help with the katas. And he had us doing super deep stances after I started actually getting back on the floor and practicing. And yeah, it hurt the heck out of my knee, but I just sucked it up and did it. And I think that really just contributed to the fact that every so often the tendon that connects the patella to your quad just doesn't work right. It'll catch sometimes. And that's the crazy part too. A lot of times when you get these injuries in training, they don't affect you when you train so much as when you don't. It's pretty wild how that works out, because I can go train, and a lot of times this stuff doesn't mess with me unless I'm doing like shooting for a takedown or something, things that really put pressure on your knees. But walking around, I'll just be walking and randomly it'll just catch and it'll hurt. It's going to be something I deal with for the rest of my life, because I didn't listen to the doctors and I wanted to get back to training, and I was in my 20s, and even though I was over 25, I still felt like, I was invincible and could heal faster than they said I would, and I really wanted to train because martial arts is what I love. This is my life now. I would one of my goals, and I'm pretty sure I've discussed this either in interviews or other videos that I've filmed, that I want to make money doing this, not just as a professional fighter. That's kind of a short-term goal, because I'm not young enough to really make that a huge long period career move. But I definitely want to open my own gym and teach full-time. Open an MMA gym, teach full-time. Train competitors, train regular people who just want to defend themselves, women's self-defense classes, all that stuff. And just make a living doing that. And I know that's not going to be easy, but there are people who do it. There's a lot of people who do it. I mean, my jiu-jitsu professor, teaches jiu-jitsu full-time. There's two classes a day, 5 days a week, and then day number 6 is, we got open mat. But I mean, most MMA gym guys, teach full-time, because that way they can have, more students in at different times of the day. And that's, that's just what I want to do. I definitely want to teach full time. But back to talking about injuries. Prevention is definitely worth a pound of cure, though. You gotta try to find instructors that aren't meatheads, that aren't gonna tell you to keep going when you're hurt. When you're very obviously hurt, and you tell them, hey, I need to take a break, or I need to stop and ice this like right now, or something. It's one thing to get hurt when you're in a fight, like a competition fight or whatever. It's another thing to hurt getting trained for it, because I can take you out of the fight, make you have to pull out. So you definitely got to speak up for yourself. Always speak up for yourself when you get an injury and you feel like it's bad enough that you need to either sit out a round, or sit out the rest of the class, or take a couple days off. Speak up and do it. Definitely can't stress that enough. I mean, if you want to make this a lifetime thing and not have issues, even if you do get injured, you really gotta nurse those injuries and make sure that when you first get them, you should probably assume that if something actually really hurts you when it initially happens, you should assume in that moment that it's actually worse than it feels, because adrenaline is going to kick in, and adrenaline is a hell of a drug. And adrenaline will make you think that it's not that bad, because it's not going to hurt till you're done doing whatever you're doing. You've sat for 20 minutes and all of a sudden, boom, then it really kicks in. So can't stress that enough. Just really can't stress that enough. I've also, and that's the thing too. Like I got a heel hooked in a jiu-jitsu tournament, no-gi once, and didn't feel like it was that bad because it ended up tweaking my ankle instead of my knee. But I tapped out when I felt it. I didn't think it was that bad, but then I got felt a pain in my ankle and was stiff and stuff. So I pulled my sock off and it looked like it was a golf ball on the side of my ankle there. So I definitely took like 2 weeks off and iced it, and it definitely healed up a lot better than everything else. I mean, that's prime example number one compared to like my shoulder or my knee. My right ankle is a lot better than those injuries as far as recovery. So, obviously, remedies that help too, especially with like sore muscles, so you don't end up pulling or tearing anything. If you're super sore, especially like when you start training, I can't recommend enough taking like a ice bath. If you can afford to get a couple of 20-pound bags of ice, fill your bathtub up with cold water and dump that ice in there. Yeah, it's gonna suck. It's gonna suck, but it sucks a lot worse being super sore. When I started doing Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, I couldn't even get out of bed for like 3 or 4 days. I was so sore because I wasn't used to using all those muscles from doing all those crazy warm-ups that are just completely different from what you do in stand-up striking arts. So, yeah, it's wild. So that, Epsom salt, I've been doing that a lot lately, training for these street beast fights I've been doing, because I end up doing a lot of things that make my legs super stiff, super sore. So, especially carrying the more upper body weight that I do, even though I'm losing weight a lot of weight. I've lost probably close to 50 pounds now. Definitely more than the 40 pounds I gained. So I definitely lost like 44, 45 pounds since July. So, yeah, that's the video for this week. Really can't think of too much else to say. Epsom salt baths, ice therapy, chiropractor. Find yourself a good chiropractor. That always helps, especially if you're doing jiu-jitsu or grappling of any kind. It's going to guaranteed tweak you out and just knock your spine, your hips, your joints all out of alignment. Definitely, it's definitely not a cure-all. If you go into a chiropractor and they got signs up, or they themselves make any kind of weird claims about it'll cure the flu or the cold or whatever non-skeletal issues are ailing you, turn around and walk out, because that dude's a quackpot. It's a complete quack. My chiropractor has never made any such claims, and it definitely will do the job. If you're experiencing like spinal pain, neck pain, lower back pain in like the pelvis area, because a lot of times what happens is if you got lower back muscle pain, your pelvis is out of alignment, your muscles are doing the work. A lot of times when you have muscle pain and your spine's out of alignment, or any part of your body's out of alignment, like joint wise or anything, a lot of the times that pain is because the muscles are picking up the slack that your skeleton's supposed to do if it's properly aligned. So I definitely recommend finding a good, reputable, experienced chiropractor and getting adjustments when you need them. Definitely when you need them, when you feel out of whack. If you can afford it or your insurance will cover it, definitely go like once every other week. Keep yourself in good condition. But yeah, that's about it for this week. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. I'm sure you guys probably thought I was doing a Cobra Kai thing again, since I just dropped the trailer and I was wearing this headband, but all my other headbands are in the laundry right now. That's why I wore this one. Definitely going to be talking about Cobra Kai after that comes out. I do have some good content coming, some better reviews. I got a gi review I'm going to do after my next fight. So keep an eye out for that. Next weekend, I'm not sure what I'm going to do, but I'll definitely upload some kind of video. Doing my rematch with Street Bender next week, so also keep an eye out for that. Other than that, don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, hit that notification bell, share this channel with as many of your friends as possible, help it grow. Don't forget to buy my merch in my Teespring store, the Heart and the Fight collab merch on their Teespring store. All links in the description below. Follow me on Instagram. Just, yeah, have a great weekend and great week, and Shinigami out.